Guys, welcome into Grand Slam Sports NFL segment. I'm back after a brief pause from last week and the week before that, so I'm happy to be back, but I'm alongside
Charles Foster.
We're going to get into some NFL right now for you guys. So, Charles, the first topic that I have today is with the trade deadline coming up, we're looking at the big names that could possibly move. And one of the big names that I was looking at was none other than the king himself, Derrick Henry. Do you think Derrick Henry still has a future at the Tennessee Titans?
I don't think so. After seeing that Bayard trade, I think it's very clear that they're just going to cut ties with everyone on that team. And I think that's the smart option. You know, I think it's time for him to move on to a contender and see what he can do.
I mean, what spots could possibly suit him? I thought I saw something, the Bills are looking at him, but James Cook has been doing fine. He's getting up there in age, and it's been proven in the NFL, the older the running back, the more injury prone and the more things, and people not wanting to commit a lot of money to this running back or to the running backs in general when they get older in age. For you, would you invest, if you were a team, would you invest in Derrick Henry for maybe a long-term 3 years?
Well, if I was a team and I didn't already have my running back of the future, then yeah, I think that Derrick Henry is still going to get the job done. I mean, he brings something that almost no other running backs bring. I mean, nowadays, we do not see that power running back as often. So I think that he brings that game that not a lot of people have. Not a lot of teams can compete against that. Unfortunately, a lot of those top teams already have their running back for the future, so it's going to be kind of hard to see where he fits.
Definitely. I mean, we talked about last year's draft, very running back heavy, running backs going higher up in the draft order. So it's going to be interesting to see this upcoming draft, which is more quarterback heavy. So it's going to be interesting to see where he lands. Moving on, this is sort of just a kind of an interesting point. The Rams released Brett Maher, their kicker, and that's really interesting to me because sometimes kickers have a bad game. They released him after last weekend's loss because he missed 3 kicks, whether it be extra points. As the game evolved, how important is having a good kicker, do you think, for a football team?
I think it's very important. I think that it's, some of the teams, a lot of the teams at the top normally have pretty good kickers. But I think, it doesn't really surprise me too much that he got released in this scenario because we've seen it a lot with some of these top kickers in the league getting released or, kind of falling off. I wouldn't say Justin Tucker's falling off, but he's having an off year coming into this year. And then you remember Josh Lambo from the Jacksonville Jaguars day. He was one of the top kickers, and now he's kind of fallen off the face of the earth. This happens, especially if you're kind of in that mediocre spot. If you miss 3 field goals in a game, they're going to let go of you really quickly.
Tough spot to be here. If you are Brett Maher, definitely a lot of good kickers still in free agency, still circulating around, so I don't really see a problem with the Rams picking up someone of adequate value. Yeah. But still, we wish him the best, obviously. Getting cut from any NFL team's hard.
Of course.
Moving on to Lamar Jackson's insane game last weekend. He went, I believe, where is my 21 out of 27 for 357 yards throwing the ball. I think a couple years ago, last year, people were criticizing Lamar, saying that he can't throw the football. What have you seen? What is different about this Ravens team than it was like last year or the year before? What's different about it?
The past few years, the biggest thing with Lamar Jackson, he tries to force the ball sometimes. It would be either he would force it or just give up on the play too quickly. I feel like he's making his reads a lot better. His pocket presence looks significantly better, and he has a better receiving core than he did last year. I feel like with all those little things kind of combined, it's really making for the ideal situation for Lamar Jackson to play the way that he is.
Definitely, I think the addition of Zay Flowers. There was a lot of talk about Odell Beckham Jr. really contributing to the offense. You haven't really seen him a lot. You've seen him sort of in the background, catch a couple passes. I think still yet to find the end zone this season. But we have to talk about one of his number one targets, Mark Andrews. Tight ends in this league are becoming massive. Every year I feel like tight ends build, right?
Yeah.
Because you have the Rob Gronkowski, then it sort of turned into the Travis Kelce show, and now it's sort of turning into this influx of teams with good pass catching tight ends. Because you can look at Sam Laporta, you can look at Mark Andrews, you can also look at George Kittle. It's a lot of pass catching tight ends. Why do you think that teams are more looking towards a pass-catching tight end more than a blocking tight end. Is it a change in wanting to run the ball more, or is it just a change in wanting to go into a passing scheme? Because Ravens were a running team.
I think it's part of the fact that, people are evolving. Like, we're seeing these. I remember back in the day, you'd see like a 6'6" quarterback, and you look at him like, oh my goodness, like he is a monster. And then you kind of look at a 6'6" quarterback like, oh, that's just another Saturday, another Sunday. So we're seeing these people, they're built better, they're faster. I mean, it's not very often you can see a 6'4", 220, 25-pound guy running around catching passes like that. But now almost every single contending team has a very good one. I mean, I can name off like 10 teams that are all in contention that actually have a tight end that will sometimes even be better than the wide receiver twos. I think that the importance is going up very quickly, and I really like it, honestly.
Well, just one more last point on Lamar. I have Lamar on my fantasy team, so obviously I was excited. He dropped 33.88 points, and he had 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, 9 carries for 36 yards. I think he was honestly one of the original quarterbacks of the run and gun play style of, hey, if it's not there, I saw a couple scramble drills. You saw it, yes? Did you see the video of his lineman absolutely bulldozing the guy into the end zone? Yeah. I mean, it's a very scary Ravens team this year.
It is absolutely.
I like them coming out of the division in general. We're going to look at the divisions later. But anyways, we're going to move on to something I'm happy about. I mean, as a Jets fan, he doesn't want to talk about it. But Mac Jones doing something. But Mike Gesicki was a great win. We're going to come back to Mac Jones because I was harsh on Mac Jones past couple weeks. Jace knows it. Charles knows it. I wasn't happy with his performances, but he turned it around. I mean, he went 25 out of 30 with 272 yards and 2 touchdowns. I mean, is it Mac Jones wanting to show up and play, or is this the Mac Jones there all along?
I think it's a mixture of many things coming into this game. One of them is the Bills have a habit of underestimating teams. They did it against the Jags in Jacksonville. I mean,
did against the Jets too.
In London, they did against the Jets. This is a team that they win games that they shouldn't, and then they lose to games that they should. This wasn't just a Mac Jones effect. This is not, in my opinion, the game where you're like, oh my God, Mac Jones is back. It was one game. I think that the important thing is you got to look at it and realize, can he put that on week by week? Not maybe that performance, but a consistent performance to where he can be trusted under center for a team that's offense is already struggling. There's very few playmakers on that team offensively.
Another thing that I really liked is we got Mac Jones in motion. I think Mac Jones was under center a good half of the time, and I think one of the statistics was that he used motion 71% of the time, whether it be Kendrick Bourne running across, whether it be Mike Gesicki or Hunter Henry switching sides, or Ramondre Stevenson going out to the right, coming back in. They utilize that motion. They need that to confuse the defense. They kept the Bills that already have an injured defensive core a little bit on their toes.
And you know what I kind of realized, and I've realized this also with Zach Wilson and a lot of struggling quarterbacks, is they kind of go to that West Coast style. And I kind of saw that a little bit with that Patriots game a little bit. It's the trickiness. Because if you play a straight up 5-on-4, you got your O-line lined up against the defense, it's a classic game. Quarterbacks under pressure struggle if they do not have something to help them. But if you have that motion, you're confusing a defense, you give your quarterback more time in the pocket, more time to make that decision. And once you start seeing those throws go, you could see Mac Jones got a lot more confident. I think that that's kind of the way that football's going, is towards every team started going to a West Coast offense because the best teams are already doing it. So I'm happy to see teams like the Jets and like the Patriots finally going on and moving on to that style.
Speaking of where my Patriots are, we're going to look at the standings. We're going to start with NFC over there by Chuck. We're going to read them out so you guys don't have to squint or zoom in for your cameras. On the top of the NFC East, we have Philadelphia at 6-1, Dallas 4-2, Washington 3-4, and obviously the New York Stinky Giants at 2-5. I mean, I guess both Giants and Jets are in the bottom level, but I can't be talking because my Patriots are below the Jets in the standings currently. But as in, we have the league leaders, San Francisco, Atlanta, and Detroit, just to name a few more. Is there anything about this list that surprises you, at least from the NFC?
Atlanta being at number 1. Even though the division is god-awful, I assumed that Tampa Bay or New Orleans, because they're a little bit older. You know, those teams are a little bit more seasoned. They've been there before, especially New Orleans. I mean, I thought Derek Carr would actually be fit really well, and he just hasn't. This is just a team, and like we saw last week, they lost off that unfortunate missed catch. I mean, this is a Saints team that they keep on giving up leads or they lose really close games. I think they're going to end up taking it, but it definitely does surprise me to see them at third in this division.
What really surprises me after the last string of performances, I know the NFC North is absolutely god-awful, but Minnesota, I feel like they were so overhyped coming into this season, and especially subtraction of Jefferson. I mean, they had a really good win over San Francisco. I mean, I can't take anything away from that. Addison was fantastic, 127 yards, 2 touchdown catches. He went like 7 out of 10 receptions, something insane. So, I mean, Captain Kirk still has it, but for me, it's crazy seeing Minnesota up that high.
I say this is about how I thought it would go. I'm more surprised that they're this high without Jefferson. You know, they won last week against the Niners. I thought that game would be a blowout. I think I said last game that it'd be a massacre. So, I mean, good on them. I mean, I'm not one to sit there and make up excuses. I'll admit whenever I'm wrong, and I was definitely wrong about them on that week. I think everyone else was too, though.
Okay, so moving over to the AFC, we have Miami, top of our AFC East, unfortunately. We have the Baltimore Ravens at 5-2, Kansas City at 6-1, Jacksonville 5-2. I got a question about Kansas City. Do you think they deserve to win all 6 of those games?
I know you're coming at me for that because of the Jets game.
No, I didn't even think about that. But I'm just saying, I just feel like Kansas City didn't deserve to win some of those games.
Kansas has escaped. Honestly, it feels like one of those things like they're like the villain in every single movie that like they get beat, and then it's kind of like roll out last second, and they somehow end up winning or they somehow end up stealing whatever they wanted. It happens almost every single week where this team steals it. I hate it, but I mean, hey, they've done it for years. So I can't even complain at this point.
Do you have any shockers? Do you have any?
Yeah, actually, I would say Pittsburgh and Cleveland being at 4-2 right now. Pittsburgh, they're one of those teams under Kenny Pickett. I'm not the biggest fan of Kenny Pickett, but seeing them at 4-2 is very impressive. I think that is something that we were not expecting coming into the year. Seeing Cleveland at 4-2, I expected them before the year started, but seeing them without Deshaun Watson for most of the year, no Nick Chubb, still being 4-2, that is very impressive. And that right there is how you kind of change around. Like that right there is perseverance, because for a team to lose their all-pro running back and to still be 4-2 without their quarterback, that's impressive.
Last note on this for me, Cincinnati sitting at the bottom of the AFC North. Are they going to turn it around, Chuck?
Yeah, they'll turn it around eventually. I think that it's just a matter of fact. I mean, 3-3 isn't even awful. I mean, I might be biased because of my Jets, but I mean, you're 500. At the end of the day, there are plenty of spots open. There are plenty of spots open for you in the playoffs. I think the team will turn it around. If they were not in the AFC North, it would be a different story. But unfortunately, they're in one of the best divisions of football. It's going to take some time to get back up. Any league leaders change for both divisions? Or all divisions, sorry. Any league leaders? First league leader I'm going to say is going to change. I'm going to say Tampa Bay passes on Atlanta. I think that they're finished the year at number 1. And I would say, honestly, I think the rest are pretty set in stone, honestly. I like the rest of these leaders. I'm going to say something, and Jace is going to celebrate. I think Indianapolis should be 1 or 2 right now. I think Indianapolis has, I mean, even under Gardner Minshew, I think they've been cheated out of a couple games, or they've come close. Maybe so, just that maybe that last one. But they should be a little bit higher. Other than that, I think it's pretty set in stone. Obviously, my New England Patriots are god-awful. Yeah. But other than that, I see Cincinnati finishing second, Baltimore finishing first. Baltimore deserves it. I think that's fair. Guys, we're going to look at the game predictions here. We're going to show them up on your screen right now so you guys can take a look. And joining us for the rest of the segment, Jace, because he's going to do some predictions with us. I squeezed 4 and 4, so we're going to have to give our audience just a little bit of time to take a look, but also to listen to our voices, because we're going to have to announce some of these matchups. First off, we have the Bills and Buccaneers. That's going to be an interesting game for me. Bills have been struggling. I'm going to say Bills in a narrow win. I'm going to say Bills, too. I hate to say it after the way that they performed against the Patriots last week, but I don't see that happening two weeks in a row. I got Bills. I'm going to continue with that one. Give me the Bills in that one. I think that should be an easy one for the Bills, even though they had a rough week last week. This is the most entertaining game of the weekend. We have the Jets versus Giants. Is it at MetLife? Is it at MetLife? Both teams play at MetLife. Yeah. So, okay. That's sort of Battle of New York. It's okay. It's all right. It's all right. Charles doesn't have a sense of humor going into the holiday weekend. But anyways,
I have the Jets here. I hate to say it. I have the Jets. The Giants look god awful, even with Saquon Barkley.
Yeah, we all know.
Even with a nice performance by Tyrod Taylor last week, I think Zach Wilson just has the extra little kick.
This team struggles against really elite defenses, and I think that the Jets are up there on elite defenses. And I think that this is a team they're coming on fire. They got a little week off. They're gonna play good. I have a feeling that Jason's gonna say the Giants here. I don't like the way he's
No,
looking at
you
me.
actually took the words out of my mouth. The Jets are winning this game because of their defense and only their defense, not because of their offense
definitely not because of the
whatsoever.
offense, yeah.
I think one touchdown in this game is going to be huge.
Yeah.
Moving on to Jags Steelers. I know what Jace is going to pick just because of his bitter hatred. But I'm going to take the Jags here. I think Kenny Pickett has shown us that he can be good. And they sit at a really good spot. But I think Trevor Lawrence, Travis Etienne, averaging 2 touchdowns a game. Thank you for my fantasy stat here. But anyways, I'm going to take the Jags here.
I'm going to take the Steelers here. Ooh. I am a national Jaguars hater. I think that, the Jags, they are overworked right now. Like, they've been traveling, they've been playing. This is the longest break they've had in a while. And I feel like, that longest break is actually going to hurt them. Because I feel like they've been running off of pure adrenaline. They've been winning these games very, very close or by mistakes from other teams. You have a Steelers team that's on fire, a defense that is very good. Give me the Steelers.
Sam, which team do you think I was hating on here?
I think you're going to go Steelers. I don't know. It's a battle of the two bad ones.
I just like the Jaguars, but I just like the Steelers more.
Oh, wow.
Give me the Jacksonville Jaguars in this game. Pittsburgh, they're 4-2, which surprises everyone, really. It's their defense, once again, that's keeping them alive in some of these games. I think the Jaguars just have enough to overpower the Steelers, as they historically have in the past few seasons, over Pittsburgh.
Eagles, Commanders, not really much. I think the Commanders defense is going to put up a
Give me the Commanders.
Fight, but oh my gosh,
it's going to jump right in. Give me the Commanders.
Fly Eagles fly. Fly Eagles fly.
No, there will be no flying this weekend. The Commanders are going to win this game.
Rams, Cowboys. I have the Rams here.
Okay.
I have the Rams here.
I can respect that. Give me the Cowboys, though.
Yeah.
I have the Rams here.
Cowboys.
It's the battle
the
of
Rams aren't going to get any pressure on Dak Prescott.
It's the battle of the released Brett Maher Bowl.
Pretty much, yeah. Both teams have done it.
Okay. Vikings, Packers. I have the Vikings here. Jordan Love has just not lived up to his potential. I have the Vikings here, especially what they did against the 49ers.
Give me the Packers here. I think that they're going to have a bounce back. I think they're going to look good. I'm a Jordan Love believer still. I think that, it's only
Jordan Love believer.
Give him some time. I think that he played because
we
were all celebrating him the first 3 weeks. We're all like, oh my goodness, Jordan Love looks very seasoned. He's had a rough stretch, but remember, this is his first full season. Give him some time. I say this is his bounce back week against a significantly worse defense than one that he's played recently.
Do you feel like being different this week? Because the Vikings are going to win this game by 10 plus, in my opinion.
So you're taking the over on this game?
The Vikings are getting hot, and they needed to get hot this time. They started the season rough.
Yeah.
But now they just beat San Fran. San Fran's looked rough, but the Vikings, they're catching fire without Justin Jefferson. I think they can win this game, and then once they get Jefferson back, I think they compete for a wild card spot.
I feel like the Packers are fully healthy right now. I think that this game, they're going to shock some people, but we'll see.
Falcons, Titans. Ooh, that's a tough. It could be up in the air. I'm gonna go
stinker.
I'm gonna go Bijan Robinson if he plays, apparently, and Desmond Ridder. I'm gonna go Falcons here.
Give me the Falcons here as well.
Falcons as well.
Yeah.
Pats, Dolphins. I'm going Patriots. I have to. We barely beat them. Or at least the Dolphins. When I went there, they barely beat us.
You do know you're allowed to vote against your team,
yeah.
Right?
But I'm going Pats.
I got the Dolphins. The Dolphins are not the Bills. They've shown that they actually beat the teams that they're supposed to beat. So
yeah,
but look at the teams they beat,
didn't they?
Huh?
Didn't Miami lose to the Bills?
They did lose to the Bills.
Okay, so
remember what we talked about.
So that basically means the Patriots are better than the Dolphins because we beat the team they lost to.
Yes, we talk about the Bills beat the teams that they're not supposed to. They lose to the teams they're supposed to beat.
That's fair.
This is a prime example. The Dolphins don't do that. Whenever they're supposed to beat a team, they whoop a team. They're supposed to win this one. They're going to do.
I'm still worried about the Dolphins in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Because they cannot compete with these bigger teams.
As I said with the Eagles.
We saw them with Buffalo. We saw them with Philly. They cannot compete with those two teams, but they can compete and destroy these smaller teams like the Patriots this season.
Yeah,
give me Miami.
Team,
yeah, it's going to be a massacre.
Moving on to our next slate of games. We're going to speed run this a little bit quickly. We got the Saints and Colts. It irks my soul, but I think I got the Colts in here. Derek Carr just hasn't impressed me.
It's a must-win for Indy.
I got the Colts as well here. I think that Gardner Minshew is going to put on a performance.
We
Texans, Panthers.
tend to struggle against Derek Carr, but I'm
Derek
going
Carr,
to.
I'm
gonna
gonna
pick.
pick.
I mean, both of y'all picked your teams. I'll pick my team. This is a must-win for the Colts if they want to be a playoff team this season.
Definitely agree with that. Texans, Panthers, battle of the rookie quarterbacks here. Give me the Texans with C.J. Stroud.
Okay.
You can go this time because
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
like what I have to say.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna stick with Texans as well. I mean, they're 3-3. They looked really good at times. And against an 0-6 Panther squad that just doesn't seem to know what they're doing on the football field,
There's no way.
the Texans are winning this game. If you say Carolina, I'm going to just walk off.
Give me the Panthers to get their first win this season. I'm feeling it. I feel it in the air.
I'm
I'm
put some money on it. You're gonna put some
You
money
put
on
some
it.
down.
See, that's how you know.
I'm a
it's
college
belief is
student. I
strong.
got things to pay, but I'm still
Don't we
going
all,
with the
don't we
Panthers for this week.
Browns, Seahawks.
I don't want to talk about this game. Moving on.
I'm taking. We'll do this quick. I'm taking the Seahawks.
I don't want to talk about the
without
Browns
Deshaun.
right now. The Browns, I'm still salty about last week with the Browns. I don't really want to talk about
He's a little
them.
biased, but it's okay.
The Browns did announce that Watson is out this next week, so
Okay,
TJ Walker
yeah.
starting
So
again.
Seahawks.
Give me the
Seahawks.
Seahawks at home.
Bengals, Niners.
I do have an update about this
Bounce back game. Bounce back game for Purdy. Yes or no?
I have an update for y'all.
Oh, okay.
Brock Purdy is in protocol for a concussion, and Darnold is in line to start.
Oh my
For San
God.
Fran.
Oh my God. I'm taking the Bengals. Yeah, no, thank you, Purdy.
I trust in Darnold. I have not.
No way! You're
The
funny. That's
reason I say I
hilarious.
trust in Darnold is because even though Darnold struggles
That's
to make
crazy.
passes over 10 yards, he doesn't have to when he has CMC. So give me the Niners.
Sam,
Okay.
here's you go.
I went Bengals.
Give me the Bengals as well. Darnold, he won the QB2 job over Lance for a reason. Maybe he could be something good, but I think the Bengals are better here.
Easy point for me. I'll take it.
Easy.
Chiefs, Broncos, Chiefs.
Move on.
Chiefs.
Ravens, Cardinals,
Ravens. Move on.
Bears, Chargers,
Chargers.
and Raiders, Lions.
Lions. Those last four pretty
Yeah,
easy. huh?
the last one was a little.
No,
speedy
watch
in there,
watch
but-
two of those games be an upset.
I
You
know
know how
the
the
way it
NFL
is.
works.
Yeah.
And-
Watch Russell Wilson pull something
If you
out.
had to choose one of those games to cause an upset, which one do you see?
I see the Bears, Chargers.
Bears,
That's going to be a
Chargers?
good one. The Chargers
Give me
defense banged
Cardinals
up.
over the Ravens, possibly.
No way.
It's not possible
Yeah,
to upset.
yeah, you're fine.
If I had to see
Chargers,
one, I'm not
Chargers.
gonna lie to you. I don't see any of them. But like, if I had to
Chargers,
see
Chargers,
one, I
Bears,
guess the
Chargers.
Bears, Chargers.
I'm telling you, I have a feeling about the Cardinals maybe compete in this game against Baltimore. Baltimore has struggled against some bad teams at times.
We'll see.
Yeah, we
We'll
also
see.
see Baltimore. Nah.
No,
Baltimore's
we'll
got
see.
it.
We'll see. We'll see.
Well, that's going to do it for our NFL segment from me and my co-hosts here. We'll see you all next week.